Today I'm going to walk you through some of the new tools embedded in the Michigan Student Test of Educational Progress preview that just recently came out. It's otherwise known as the M-STEP. Up until this point, M-STEP has been kind of this veiled test. No one knew what it was going to look like, though we suspected what it might look like. And recently, the Michigan Department of Education has released some preview items. At this time, they are previewing items for both math and English language arts in one test format. And there's about 20 questions available for you to preview, and at the end of the month of January, they are going to make available tests that are more grade and content specific. All right, so how do you find this preview? You can go to the Michigan Department of Education website, which is at www.michigan.gov/MDE. If you don't feel like typing that in, just Google it. Once you get to the website for the Michigan Department of Education, you can either click on Student Assessment in the left menu, or on the top there is a picture of the M-STEP and you can click on that. In the center of the page of M-STEP, there is a category about what do I need to know, and under that there are directions to access the preview. Since the preview is in the building stage right now, there are a few rules we have to play by. First of all, it has to be in Google Chrome, so please make sure you're accessing this on a device with Google Chrome. And you're also going to have to copy and paste the link. It's not a live link, so we're going to copy this by selecting it, and you can hit Control-C or right-click and say copy. And then we're going to go to the top and open a new tab and paste in that web address. Once you paste it in, hit enter, and it will take you to the Spring 2015 preview. It says click here, so I'm going to click here, and then it says click here again. Again, a little clunky, but I'm just going to do what I'm told. Click on it again, and wait patiently. All right, so this is the sign-in page for the M-STEP preview, and the username and password for all people previewing is the same. So username, it states on the screen, is preview, and password is test1234. Once I click sign in, it's going to give me a page to review my information. If this were a real testing scenario, you would see the test name, the test session, and you would see the student's actual ID number and our district ID number. Students would review that with their teacher and then hit the continue button. Once they hit continue, they will be provided with a link to access their test. So now I'm going to click on Spring 15 Preview. Okay, so here it just reviews what I've already discussed, that the grade and content specific previews will come out in January. And at this time, this is about 20 questions covering both math and English language arts at a variety of levels. The purpose of this test at this time is just to get you familiar with what the testing looks like and what the tool looks like, not necessarily to dig into the content that is specific to each grade level. So now I will click Begin the Test. All right, I'm going to walk you through the different tools on this page, and then we will take a look at some of the different types of questions that are being offered as the preview. Okay, so I'm going to start looking at the tools that are across the top of my screen here. Then we can look at the question and the tools across the bottom. If I am going fast for you, feel free to pause and rewind and listen to it as many times as you need to in order to fully understand each tool. Okay, so our test name is at the top, and normally our student name would be at the top as well. So right now everyone should be called training student. As the student is working, it will display which question they are on in the upper left corner. Students do not have to take the test in sequential order. They may move from question to question. To move to another question, they can use this drop-down menu and change to another question. So say I'm on question 1 and I want to move to question number 10, I can do so. Okay, let me go back to question number 1. Now let's preview some of the tools that students have available to help them while taking their test. On the top, you'll see 6 buttons. Each button, when you scroll over it, describes what the function of the button is. So if I scroll over the next one, it should say cross off, then highlighter, sticky note, etc. Students know that they have selected a button when it turns a little bit lighter blue than the other options on the menu. So right now I have the pointer tool selected. The pointer tool allows the student to select the answer that they would like on this item. So this is a multiple choice or selected response, and there's only one correct answer. So you'll see as I click into the responses, it removes the previous response. The next tool is the cross off tool. If I click on the cross off tool and I come down to my question, as I am trying to determine the answer to the question and I discover that one selection is not an option, I can click on it and it will cross that item off, so to remind me when I go to submit my final answer that that is incorrect. The tool next to cross off is highlighter. If I click on highlighter and then select use highlighter, my pointer will become a highlighting tool, and I can highlight directly on the question or the text of the question to help bring my attention to the items that I need to look at when responding to the question. The next item on the toolbar is the sticky note. When I click on sticky note and select new sticky note and then move my cursor onto my page, I will get a note that I can type in. So I can write right here on my screen. This might be a really useful tool if a student needs to make a calculation and they're just want to write out the notes from the calculation, or if they're on a question, say like question 13, let me try another one, 16, that has a lot of text to it. They could move a sticky note out and take notes as they are reading on main ideas. A good test taking strategy is to read the question before reading the selections so they know what they're looking for, and so they might have an idea of what items they want to write down as they come across them during the reading selection. I'm going to go back to question 1 where we were working. The next tool is the magnifier. If you have students who just want to see something in an enlarged view or need to see it due to a visual impairment, they can click on this enlargement tool, and they can do 1.5 times the size, or they can do 2 times the size. When they use the zoom or the magnifying tool, it is going to make their question view larger than their screen. So then they're going to have to do some scrolling to see the entire question. And finally, the line guide. The line guide is probably better demonstrated on a text question. So I'm going to move up to question 16 again and click on line guide. Once I click on line guide, you'll see that I have this new menu appear with lines. And what it does is just give me a line tool that I'm clicking on, and I'm holding down the left button on my mouse, and it's allowing me to have a line to help me with reading and tracking from line to line. When I'm done with the line guide, I can click on it and it will turn off. The final tool on the top of the screen is the question mark, which is the help button. If I click on the help button and select open help, it will give me all sorts of directions needed for the test. If I click on test directions, it will tell me what I need to do for test directions. If I click on tools, it will review the tools that I've just gone through with you. It looks like when calculators are allowed, there will also be a calculator tool. And the calculator tool will look like a little calculator icon. And then at the end, there's a how-to section, and this might be really useful to help students when they get to a question where they need to do something like drag and drop or practice a bar graph or number line graph, because it will tell them how to manipulate the technology. It's really important that we all practice these items as well, so that when the student gets to testing time, they are feeling very adept with how to create how to select a question in multiple choice, how to enter text, how to drag and drop, and that they're not concerned about how to manipulate the technology as much as they are on how to answer the question properly. Okay, we're almost done. On the bottom of the screen, there are 4 buttons and a back and next button. I think those 2 are pretty self-explanatory. I'm going to work from the right to the left. So we have an options button here, and the options just allow us different text background color choices. Sometimes students have a visual impairment or a learning disability that requires them to use a different color text, and it's great that it's offered to every student. Just a small adaptation that can mean a big difference, especially when looking at a screen for day after day after day. One thing students can do as they're working through a question, if they feel like they need clarification on the question, or they need some time to think about it, or they're not 100% certain of the response but they need some time, they could click flag. Once they have the question flagged, when they go to review and end their test, each item will tell whether they have completed the answer or not, and if it's flagged, it will have a little blue flag next to it. Let me show you what that looks like. So let's say I decide I'm done with my test, and I say review and end test. At this point in time, it will show me how many questions were on the test and whether or not I've answered each question. If a question has been answered, it will be displayed with a gray filled in rectangle or circle, or oval. If a question has not been answered, then it will be left empty. Please note that this does not tell students whether a question is correct or incorrect, just that it has been answered. If I have flagged a question, like on question 16, a flag will appear next to it. To return to that question, all I need to do is click on the question in that list, and I can go back to the question, finish my response, and then unflag my response. If at any time during testing I need to leave the classroom to use the restroom, or to go down and maybe see the principal for a moment, or see the guidance counselor, pick up my lunch, I can pause my test. So I just go to this button right here that says pause, and it sets a 20-minute timer. After 20 minutes, it will automatically log me out of the test if I do not resume. If I get back within the time frame, I can hit resume and return to the test where I left off. I'm not certain what happens when that 20 minutes goes up, if the student has to start at the beginning or if it just closes their test and will open it the next time. That is something that has been yet to be explained. All right, so that walked us through the majority of the tools that students need to be aware of while testing. We still would like to take a better look at how each question looks, because there are a variety of types of questions where students have multiple choice, questions where students have to enter a response, where they can use calculators, where they have to do matching, and where they have to create graphs or analyze graphs. So there's lots of different items on here that exceed the length of this video. So please keep tuned for another video on what each question looks like. In the meantime, I recommend that you go to the Michigan Department of Education website and you find the M-STEP preview and you try taking the test for yourself.